Why are blacks or super predators rushing to the polls to vote when Malcolm X calls us chumps or race traitors for voting?
CoonWatch, the official, the original home for coon shaming. Find all the coons you can handle at CoonWatch.com.
Dear family and friends, this production represents my response to the following comments. You have to vote. Our ancestors died for our right to vote. Who cares about the emails? Trump's the only racist in this race. We have to stop him. Check this out. I refuse to pick a massa. You do it.
You're the one who sent Kennedy to Washington.
We sent Obama to office both times. Yes, we. I was drinking the Kool-Aid then.
You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you.
And what did we get in 8 years? Blacks being killed by race soldiers, gay rights legislation, immigration legislation, funding elimination for HBCUs, Latino woman appointed to the Supreme Court, couldn't find a qualified black woman, white woman appointed to Supreme Court, still couldn't find a qualified black woman.
And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. A political chump. The party that you back controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you. Because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
According to Malcolm X, if you are running around claiming that you are a Democrat, you are not only a chump, but you are a traitor to your race. Let that marinate.
And what kind of alibi do they come up with? They try and pass the buck to the Dixiecrats.
So what is a Dixiecrat? They are the racist southern wing of the Democratic Party. True, most of them joined the Republican Party, and they're still there. But a lot of them returned to the Democrats once good old Southern boy Bill Clinton got into office and put his foot in the eye of blacks while being the first black president and playing the saxophone.
Now, back during the days when you were blind, deaf, and dumb, ignorant, politically immature, naturally you went along with that. But today, as your eyes come open and you develop political maturity, you're able to see and think for yourself. And you can see that a Dixiecrat is nothing but a Democrat in disguise.
So what does Malcolm X say about Democrats versus Republicans?
In America, there's no such thing as Democrats and Republicans anymore. That's antiquated. In America, you have liberals and conservatives. This is what the American political structure boils down to among whites. The only people who are still living in the past and thinks in terms of I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican is the American Negro. He's the one who runs around bragging about party affiliation, and he's the one who sticks to the Democrat or sticks to the Republican. But white people in America are divided into two groups, liberals and Republicans, or rather liberals and conservatives. And when you find white people vote in the political picture, they're not divided in terms of Democrats and Republicans. They're divided consistently as conservatives and as liberals. The Democrats who are conservatives vote with Republicans who are conservatives. Democrats who are liberals vote with Republicans who are liberals. You find this in Washington, D.C. Now, the white liberals aren't white people who are for independence, who are liberal, who are moral, who are ethical in their thinking. They are just a faction of white people who are jockeying for power, the same as the white conservatives are a faction of white people who are jockeying for power. Now, they are fighting each other for booty, for power, for prestige. And the one who is the football in the game is the Negro. 20 million black people in this country are a political football, a political pawn, an economic football, an economic pawn, a social football, a social pawn. And the liberal element of whites are those who have perfected the art of selling themselves to the Negro as a friend of the Negro, getting the sympathy of the Negro, getting the allegiance of the Negro, getting the mind of the Negro. And then the Negro sides with the white liberal, and the white liberal uses the Negro against the white conservative. So that anything that the Negro does is never for his own good, never for his own advancement, never for his own progress. He's only a pawn in the hands of the white liberal. The worst enemy the Negro has is this white man who runs around here drooling at the mouth, professing to love Negroes and calling himself a liberal. And it is following these white liberals that has perpetuated problems that Negroes in America have. If the Negro wasn't taken, trapped, tricked, deceived by the white liberal, then Negroes would get together and solve our own problem. It was the white liberals that come up with the Civil War, supposedly, they say, to solve the slave question. Lincoln was supposedly a white liberal. When you read the true history of Lincoln, he wasn't trying to free any slaves. He was trying to save the Union. He was trying to save his own party. He was trying to conserve his own power. And it was only after he found he couldn't do it without freeing the slaves that he came up with the Emancipation Proclamation. So right there you have deceit of white liberals making Negroes think that the Civil War was fought to free them. You have the deceit of white liberals making Negroes think that the Emancipation Proclamation actually freed the Negroes. And then when the Negroes got the Civil War and they found out they weren't free, the Emancipation Proclamation, they found out they still weren't free. They began to get dissatisfied and unrest. They come up with the same white liberals came up with the 14th Amendment, supposedly to solve the problem. This came about, the problem still wasn't solved, because the white liberals, it's only a political trick. Civil War, political trick. Emancipation Proclamation, political trick. 14th Amendment to this raggedy Constitution, a political trick. Then when the Negroes begin to develop intellectually again and realize that their problem still wasn't solved and unrest began to increase, the Supreme Court, another so-called political trick, came up with what they call a Supreme Court desegregation decision. And they purposely put it in a language. Now, you know, sir, that these men on the Supreme Court are masters of the King's English, masters of legal phraseology, and if they wanted a decision that no one could get around, they would have given one. But they gave their Supreme Court desegregation decision in 1954 purposely in a language, phraseology, that enabled all of the crooks in this country to find loopholes in it that would keep them from having to enforce the Supreme Court desegregation decision. So that even after the decision was handed down, our problem has still not been solved. And I only cite these things to show you that in America, the history of the white liberal has been nothing but a series of trickery designed to make Negroes think that the white liberals were going to solve our problem.
So are you a political football being deceived by white liberals? Looking for white mommy and white daddy? A coon? A traitor to your race? If you answer yes to any of the questions above, I have a place for you on the Coon train at CoonWatch.com.
Listen here, boys and girls. I got something for you. Don't worry about getting no black man, little girl. Don't worry about getting no black woman, little boy. And when you grow up, don't worry about your kids. You don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is do something good for white folks. And if white folks love you, if they love you, you'll be all right, child. you'll be with God. CoonWatch, the official, the original home for coon shaming. Find all the coons you can handle at CoonWatch.com.